So this is it. This is the one where I started my Senran Kagura adventure when it comes to the games. Like I said before, the anime is where I started. So if you're interested, be sure to give it a watch. I was hella interested in Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash after watching a playthrough of it from the YouTuber Tanner of the North. And just like Clement J64, he was also and still is a Canadian Let's Player. And to this day, he's still continuing with the Let's Play format despite it being dead. Gotta give it to him though, he's got quite the dedication. I was still 16 when checking the game out on YouTube, and it wasn't until Christmas Day in 2018 when my late mom got me the game. That was one of the best Christmas gifts a cultured 18-year-old could ever dream of experiencing at that time. So it's been 9 years since the release of PBS, and seeing that I've played this a lot, it's about time I give it a go for the 5th time. So let's splash our way into a world of sun, fun, beaches, and bitches. So it's time to dive into Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash. During ancient times, shinobi from different factions host a water gun tournament. Doesn't matter if you're good, evil, neutral, dead, or a renegade, what matters is your skill in water guns to achieve victory. And your special ninja abilities are not allowed. So here we are in the present day as Mr. K and Miss R get ready to host the next PBS water gun tourney. All 4 teams would get an invitation to PBS, with one of them landing between Miyabi's legs. Now that is how you shoot your shot. And with that, all 21 shinobi are summoned into the PBS arena. This is where we get into the Sonic Heroes territory. Senran Kagura PBS is separated into 4 arcs with 2 final arcs, and thankfully each one is straightforward. They each go against each other with each team winning a tourney from their perspective. During Gessen's story, Minori picked up an envelope that Shiki accidentally dropped, and later Shiki would confess to everyone that she was given an invitation to study French overseas. This is easily my favorite side of the story because of how extremely close they are to each other. Hearing everyone saying they'll support Shiki no matter what decision she makes was very heartwarming. In the end, Shiki made her decision to study overseas, but only after she graduates from Gessen. To this day, I still find it interesting that Shiki's the youngest out of the 5, despite Minori being the childest one in the group. But I like how Minori is handling the situation well. She may be sad by Shiki's decision, but she understands her choice. This would also be Ayame's 2nd time being playable in a mainline game, but this will also be her 1st time being part of the main roster instead of being DLC. She's very horny for Katsuragi to the point where she wants to be sexually harassed by her. Yeah, Kat is really teaching her the ways of pervertedness. So when she graduates, her pervy skills will pass on. And yes, that's the main plot of Hanzo in PBS. Her and Ikaruga will graduate soon, leaving Asuka, Yagyu, Hibari, and Ayame behind. Realizing this would make Ikaruga upset, and later on, it would escalate into a fight between her and Kat. But with the help of Kagura and Naraku, yes, they also got an invitation for some reason, they all got together with Ikaruga voicing out her sadness, knowing that she and Kat would have to say goodbye to everyone. But at the very least, they stood strong. I also like how after deciding to go on vacation once they win the tournament, Ikaruga would invite Yomi to join her and everyone else. It goes to show how much the two have grown as both rivals and best friends. As for Hebijo, well, Mr. K gave Murasaki a note that Imu dropped, and after reading it, she assumed that Imu was going to give Miyabi something special, making her feel upset. But as if that couldn't get worse, Ryubi and Ryuna would also end up fighting each other after Ryuna accidentally caused the fire. So instead of actually punishing her, Ryubi would instead do the opposite, which would end up pissing off Ryuna. Given how the circumstances are, I do feel bad for Miyabi, seeing that she has to put up with 2 pairs of sisters fighting each other. And excuse me, but did Ryuna really tell Ryobi to say, please let me beat that ass? Like, I know Riona's a freaky masochist, but this still caught me off guard when I first played this game. Both Murasaki and Ryuna voiced out their insults on Imu and Ryobi after being told by a mysterious voice. Surely this wouldn't bite them in the ass later on, right? It turns out it did, cause right when Miyabi convinced them to make up, those same insults they said to Imu and Ryobi would end up getting played out loud, now causing the two to get mad at Murasaki and Ryuna. With no other way, Miyabi chose to go harder than hard against Gessen, but would risk hurting her body. Again, the fact that she has to carry the whole team until they made up was insane. It's cool to see that they were able to make up in the end, but overall, this was my least favorite arc of the four. The whole sibling rivalry was really insufferable, and as much as I love Murasaki, she should have just told Emu about the note instead of having her guess. It's not that hard to be direct with her. Thankfully, the Crimson arc is a lot better than the last two, and it's pretty simple. As you know, the 5 girls are now renegades, and they're trying to earn some extra cash to make a living. So they decided not only to win the tournament and get the prize, but also garner attention on YouTube by doing some crazy shit in order to land a job. From Homura spinning plates with her swords, to Yomi eating a ton of shaved ice, which gave her a stomach ache and is now in the shitter. And since when can Hikage spit bars like that? What the hell? It should be obvious that none of their attempts have worked. However, they did end up getting a mission from Miss R where they'll have to win PBS. Well, not only did they end up winning PBS, but they've also received a lot of shinobi jobs to choose from after the whole final match got broadcast. So it looks like they can finally wish for a lot of meat to devour.
What do you mean by that?
However, that mysterious figure happens to be the one who arranged the tournament in order to keep everyone from escaping, believing that they stand no chance against Shin, the most powerful of all Yoma. But with the help of Ryuki, the Kagura sisters, and Jasmine, all 28 shinobi would repair the rainbow bridge that Mayon broke. But he ends up breaking it again, effectively bringing them back down to square one. But he would eventually give them a chance to prove to him that they can defeat Shin. And this is where I couldn't take the game seriously. DJ Ryoki? Really? That's our final boss? Okay, I guess? Well, anyway, they defeated her, and before leaving, the girls would spend a bit more time in paradise. The game ends with Asuka and Homura back to their usual, as well as a teaser that what could have been the 7th entry in the series, Senran Kagura 7. Wow, talk about ending on a cliffhanger, sheesh. Despite the unfortunate cliffhanger, the story really entertained me a lot. There were a lot of times where I couldn't keep a straight face, like when Shiki and Minori wanted to squeeze Yozakura's milkers. I mean, I don't blame them though, cause Yozi sure has some motherly fun bags. But I will not stand for this Ayame slander. She is too damn precious to be bullied like that. Especially from Emu of all people, who is known as a Miyabi glazer. You will not go a single game without hearing her glaze the hell out of Miyabi. I mean, at least Ayame cherishes her new teammates and is very respectful while glazing Katsuragi. I also like the scenes with Mr. K and Miss R, because they were pretty over the top, but Miss R really offering up her naughty pillows to Mr. K was hella wild. All in all, a wacky yet remarkable story that knows how to take itself seriously, while also bringing in wholesome moments at the right time. Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash is a 5v5 third-person shooter. No longer are we going hack and slash, but instead we're spraying shinobi girls with water guns. Now, if you watched my video on Fortnite's metaverse, you may remember me saying that I don't do first-person shooters and instead third-person shooters. I would much prefer seeing my character fight in a shooting game, which is why I don't play games like Call of Duty, Valorant, and Overwatch. So how does PBS fare as a third-person shooter? I say it fares pretty well. This was before I got into Fortnite, so I have PBS to thank for carrying my skills over. And you know how every shooter goes. You use the trigger button to shoot down enemies, and you can aim when you're at long range. There are 10 different weapons for you to choose from, and they all vary in attack range, water consumption, power, mobility, etc. There's no need to worry about ammo, as you can reload at any time since every weapon has infinite ammo. But depending on the weapon you use will determine how long it'll take. Gatling guns are not my preferred choice because of how slow it takes to reload, and the shower gun can only do so much as it requires you to get closer to your opponent. The spray gun is the best when it comes to close range in my opinion. I did get some use out of the shotgun, and the grenade launcher is okay when you just don't give a damn. The sniper rifle was cool to use. I wouldn't recommend it on boss fights if you're trying to clear them as quickly as possible, but it's still fun to use against enemies. However, the assault rifle, pistol, RPG, and dual pistols are my go-to. Especially the dual pistols, they're easy to use and can give you more ammo to use in one clip. If one of your teammates is knocked, then you'll have the chance to get them back on their feet. Thankfully, you don't have to worry about each character having different playstyles, as each of them plays the same. The only difference is their melee attacks. They're pretty difficult to land, but can easily deal more damage and pushback. Just look at Shiki bending over to swing that double-wielded scythe of hers. That's kinda hot if you ask me. And while Shinobi Ninja arts are not allowed in this game, instead you can use cards for compensation. There are skill cards, pet cards, and weapon cards. Skill cards can be used for various situations, from activating bubble shields to restoring full health, as well as launching powerful attacks and lowering your opponent's power. There are over 800 cards for you to choose from, with each having beautiful and raunchy illustrations. Pet cards can also be used to summon companions that will help you fight during fights. There are 16 pet cards for you to unlock, and you can choose 3 of them to accompany you. My favorite has to be Luca, since he can shoot water bullets, adding extra damage to my opponents. Senran Kagura PBS has up to 33 characters to choose from, and since they don't change much in terms of gameplay, it's mostly picking your favorite girl or girls in this game. I should also mention that 3 of the characters are from the mobile game Senran Kagura New Wave. There's Leo, a witch girl that's not your typical witch bitch, but is rather a calm and elegant leader of the Zodiac Star Committee. I'm not surprised that she shares the same BA with Hibiki from Pre-Para. She even voices Shalala from Hero Go to Sky Pretty Cure. Saiga really has an amazing deep voice if you ask me. Aside from Leo, there's also Yuyaki. She's the leader of the Toho Tengu Shinobi group and can be calm and gentle, but once she picks up a weapon, it's nothing but trouble. And speaking of trouble, there's Soji, a first year in Hebijo who believes she can beat anyone and is considered a narcissist. She also has a one-sided rivalry with Homura to the point where she vows to defeat her and claim her superiority. This chick really thinks she's hot shit, but if you're gonna pick your favorite girl, you'll need to make sure she's at her strongest. Which brings us to the EXP. For each match you win, you'll earn a card pack, which will grant you EXP depending on what rarity of that card you get. And you can even buy card packs to earn EXP. This can also be used to level up characters, cards, weapons, and pets. But leveling up weapons and characters are the most important since you're using your best girl and weapon against the opposing team. And when you knock your opponent out, you'll have a chance to perform a squirmy finish, which is just splashing them with water. During this, you can aim for either their face, boobs, or tushy, and depending on the weapon you choose, you can see them in various poses, from having them on their knees, or you can have Asuka on all fours, so you either let the girls breathe or let them lips hang and show off their bakery. Doing these finishes will increase the speed of your skill cost charge for a short amount of time. So if I were you, I'd take advantage of that. You can even change the color of the squirmy finish, so if blue is your favorite color, then go for it. If your teammates spray you with enough water, you'll activate your soaking wet power up, which will give you infinite water usage without the needing to reload. Thing is, you can't freeze the timer at any point, so there will be times where you'll be doing a squirmy finish only for the timer to run out at the wrong time. This game has up to 5 arcs to go through, with 4 of them each having 10 story missions, and the climax arc having 15. And at the end of each arc, you'll have to face off against the prospective final boss. This can range from Mr. K and Miss R to once again a giant arena. You also have to fight against 2 machines that'll lick and grope Rin and Daidoji if they get closer and closer to them. And of course, the final fight against DJ Ryoki. These boss fights can be pretty engaging and can offer a good challenge depending on the difficulty. Aside from the story mode, there's also Paradise episodes. These are side stories, each with 5 missions to go through. This can range from Yuyaki trying to catch her crow companion with the help of Leo, to Soji trying to defeat Homo once and for all. Oh, how about the 4 main leaders going Ghostbusters and try to find the ghost, but it was actually Shiki the whole time. There's a bunch of fun and interesting interactions between the shinobi, I tell you. There's also V-Road Challenge, where you can go through 4 different cups, each with 5 rounds, with the last cup being the hardest one. But playing missions on harder difficulty can really benefit you a lot, as you'll earn a crazy amount of zenny to spend. So I'd take advantage of that if I were you. There's also online where you can either do co-op survival or compete in 5v5 matches with none of your friends. As fun as it is, I think you missed the opportunity for local multiplayer. Think of how cool it would be to play with your friends on the same couch. Hopefully, if they'll ever do this again, which I highly doubt, they'll find a way to implement it. PBS also has a bunch of DLC characters. Basho would be the only DLC character from New Wave. She's also a first year in Habijo, but is very calm and carefree. What's interesting is that she's very fond of Hikage and her mysterious aura. I'm sure I'll get her when the time comes. But aside from Basho, we also got a bunch of guest characters as well. INA from Dead or Alive makes a return from Estival Versus, but with the collaboration with Dead or Alive Extreme 3, Marvel has brought in 2 friends to accompany her. that being Marie Rose and Hanukkah. Speaking of which, Dead or Alive 6 last round is coming in a few months, with Dead or Alive 7 now in development. It's cool to see the franchise come back after the damage Dead or Alive 6 has done to the franchise. Ikitosen will also make their return from Estival Versus, those being Sozaku, Kanu, and Ryofu, but joining the fray for the first time is Ryomo. Marvelous will also cross over one of their other IPs to PBS, that being Valkyrie Drive, bringing in Rinka and Ranka Kagurazaka from Valkyrie Drive Pikuni. The last two guest characters I save for last. Marvelous will reach out to Nitro Plus to bring their iconic mascot over to PBS. Yup, that's Super Sonico, the singer and guitarist of First Astronomical Velocity. It's also seen her in the game, even more so as both her and Shiki share the same VA. And lastly is the protagonist herself, Neptune, from the Hyperdimension Neptunia franchise. With how closely Marvelous and Tamsok work together with IFI and Compound Heart, it was no surprise that the former would reach out to the latter to include Neptune as a DLC character. I wish they could have added Nepgear or Noir to accompany Neptune, but I'm sure we'll see that happen in some way soon enough. The game does have a shop where you're able to buy card packs, outfits, swimsuits, music, avatar icons, etc. You can also change the shopkeeper, which is why you're seeing Sonico here. You can also view the stuff you bought as well as your playtime record. That should tell you how much I love Shiki. There's also the dressing room where you're able to dress the girls in multiple outfits, as well as swimsuits and hairstyles. And whatever you dress them in will reflect on the story, which is why you're seeing all the girls in their own swimsuits, as well as their hairstyles. I was never a fan of Miyabi's hair combed down, so I changed it back to a normal style, which looked way better on her. And as much as I love Shiki's twin tails, I prefer her hair to be down. She looks way cuter that way. And you may have also noticed Ryobi's fun bags in the cutscenes. That's because she's in her shinobi form. You can actually choose to have her normal or in her shinobi form. How awesome is that? There's also intimacy mode where you can get intimate with the other characters, which is why you're also seeing Neptune and Super Sonico. I don't really use it that much, but hey, it's a really fun inclusion. I did mention how a renewal soundtrack didn't do much for me, but damn did I enjoy PBS's soundtrack. This is easily the best soundtrack I've ever heard in a Senran Kagura game. So many fun tracks to listen to, with Soaking Wet Girls and Sister's Duty being my #1 favorite tracks to listen to. Especially Sister's Duty, because that track really knows how to turn me up. This shit really slaps, I tell you. Then of course, we have the opening theme, Rainbow Kiss by Yumi Hara and Hitomi Harada, the VAs of Yumi and Asuka. What a phenomenal song to listen to. The presentation is also top notch as well. It carries over from Estival Versus over to here, which is good. If it ain't broke, don't fix. The game runs well at a smooth 60 frames per second, especially on the PS5, and dialogue during missions can be pretty interesting. Considering that this was the first Senran Kagura game that I've played, I was pleasantly surprised at how amazing this game was. From the energetic gameplay to the remarkable fan service, beautiful graphics and art style, as well as a badass soundtrack. This was the perfect way to introduce me to third-person shooters, as long as they catch my interest. Definitely the best Senran Kagura game I've ever played. Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash gets a 9.5 out of 10. I highly recommend it to those who are interested in voluptuous shinobi and water guns. So get it on either the PS4 or Steam. Things are only going to get interesting from here on as we continue on with the Senran March Madness. But before we get to that special video I have in store, there is one other Senran Kagura video I want to get out of the way, but you'll have to wait and see once we get to it. Until then, this is Star the Protagonist signing out. As always, Goku Genyo, and have a star-tastic day, everyone. If you enjoyed today's video, then be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and turn those notifications on to join the Star Nation. Also, be sure to follow my Twitter, and while you're at it, check out my previous video. Now.